Around it now, and we're so far of it.
All right, recording's going.
Sorry.
Okay. Good evening. This is the meeting of the Environmental Concerns Commission. Today's date is May 22nd, 2025, and it is 7:17. And I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Leishman.
Present?
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Commissioner Figueroa.
Present.
Commissioner Amore.
Present.
Commissioner Greco.
Present.
And Commissioner Wagner, I'm present, and we have established that we have a quorum. And we are also joined by our de facto liaison, Vasily Voskresensky. Wow. And then we also have a resident who is becoming a regular, Molly Karch, Karcz.
Cars.
Cars. Okay. Great.
Thank you. No cars allowed. This is the.
Well, in
Exactly.
the homeland, it would be Karch, I believe.
Yes, it totally
Yeah.
would.
Okay, so we've established a quorum. I'm going to move on to item 2, public comments on agenda items. Are there any comments on agenda items? No. Okay.
Nope.
All right, I'll move on to item 3, amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda? All right, seeing none, I'm going to move on to item 4, approval of the meeting minutes from April 24th, 2025.
Commissioner Smith?
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, I move to approve of the meeting minutes from April 24th, 2025.
Okay. And is there a second?
Commissioner Mori, second.
Second, okay. Is there any discussion? I want to thank Commissioner Leishman for stepping up and doing those minutes. And my apologies that I missed them earlier. So, okay, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the April 24th, 2025 meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the meeting minutes are approved. Okay, I'm going to move on to...
Commissioner Wagner,
Yes.
if I may, last meeting, we tabled the approval of the March minutes.
That's true, we did.
Bless you.
The recording has since come out since we did that meeting, but I have not had a chance to listen to it and apply those changes.
So this is Commissioner Wagner. So you're absolutely correct. We did set that aside, but it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
So let's, I will make sure to put that on our June agenda for
Okay.
approval.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the business portion of our meeting. Item 5A, report of the Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee. And I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Leishman.
Thank you, Chairman Wagner. Tonight, we started off by kind of having a bit of a retrospective on our Bike Month events that we've done this month. Short story of that is, unfortunately, the walk and roll to school day with North School got canceled because there was a bit of a miscommunication between the PTA and the school admin. So the event wasn't really properly advertised. We had a smart cycling event led by our in-house league certified instructor, Commissioner Wagner. Helped a couple students learn how to ride safely there. Then we had the Ride of Silence last night. I believe we had 6 attendees, which was great to see despite the gross weather. And then the last Bike Month event that we have is coming up on Saturday. We're doing a bike registration event with the police over at the Historical Society on Saturday from 10 to 2. Then we also got a report from Commissioner Wagner about his experience at the Illinois Walk and Bike Summit. So it was exciting to hear about all the initiatives going on with the state legislature. Commissioner Greco brought up an observation that she had made about some discussions going on with the District 88 school board. They've have some, I don't remember the exact wording, but
Oh.
basically dangerous roads that they wanted to approve in their minutes, but
Yes, certifying hazardous conditions on some of the routes that students use to get to school.
yeah. My hypothesis is this is related to busing, because like when you're setting a busing district for around a school, normally students have to live a certain distance away, but there's exceptions made for that if they have to cross dangerous roads. And so by labeling these roads dangerous, it probably allows more students to be bused to school. But this is something that's been going on since, I think you said 1985.
85 and 86, yeah.
So it's a little sad to see that those roads are still dangerous. And then the last major thing that we talked about, Commissioner Morey expressed his ongoing concerns about the Villa Avenue Improvement Project. So we're going to have some follow-up conversations with village staff to understand what the status of that project is. And that's about all we discussed tonight.
And this is Commissioner Wagner. I would just add that Al Stash, who was a former member of the Village's Video Production Commission, did a nice, I don't know, what was it, 5-minute, 6-minute little coverage of the right of silence, and edited it and posted it very, very quickly. I was amazed. So it was a nice thing that he did.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Did you see it?
Yes, yeah.
I'll look for it.
This is Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner Smith. Yeah.
Oh, yes. So I have a question for Commissioner Leachman regarding the bike registration. Does the bike have to be present for the registration?
Yes. There is a serial number on the bottom of bicycles that so it's a registration event with the police. We collect the bike's description as well as the serial number that's on the bike's frame on the bottom, so that it can be recognized by the police.
So a snapshot of that wouldn't suffice if your bike is not in the same place that you are?
Oh, if you take a picture of the serial number, I think that would be fine.
This is Commissioner Wagner. You could do it yourself. If you find it on the Villa Park Police Department website, you can take a photo, upload your photo, just find the serial number, the description of your bike. You can do it yourself.
Okay.
But they do give you a little serial number decal that says Villa Park Police Department, I think it says.
Yeah.
And you just put that somewhere on the frame of your bike.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Leishman. Okay, I'm going to move on to item 5B. Discussion and action, selection of chairperson, secretary, and possible vice chairperson for 2025-2027. And if you look at the ordinance, actually the ordinance for, I think, all the commissions, the chairperson and others are selected every 2 years. So I know that there's been discussion among the commissioners. I would just like to let you know that Commissioner Hill is interested in being a vice chair. If the commission would say, we'd like to create a vice chair position. So just some other thoughts about this. I'm willing to stay on as chair. Since we don't have Commissioner Draconis and we don't have Commissioner Hill here this evening, maybe we would maybe we'll defer this until June, just to let people think a little bit more, or see if some things are happening that might make it advantageous for them to be a vice chair or a chairperson. I think it would be good to have a vice chair because I'm intending on taking a trip in July, and it's likely I won't be on hand in July, so it would be nice to have someone who is designated as the vice chair so that they could take over, so that they could run the meeting. Commissioner Morey.
Commissioner Morey, so within the guidelines, are you allowed to have more than one vice chair? Can you have a
It
first
says
vice chair and a second vice chair?
Yeah. My bad, I should have printed out that section of the ordinance, but it says, we have the latitude to create that position. It's not, we have the latitude to say, okay, we want to have a vice chair. Commissioner Smith.
I think that is a good idea, in my opinion, to have our first chair and a second chair, to have, two vice chairs, given the kind of makeup of our committee and the time availability.
Do you folks have any other thoughts on Commissioner Morey?
And with the understanding that our junior commissioner at some point may be elevated, would he be allowed to be considered for one of those positions?
I don't think that, unfortunately, I don't think the junior commissioner can become the chair. That's just the way that they...
How old does one have to be as a commissioner? Are you 18 yet?
That's a good question. I mean, maybe, maybe he's not so junior anymore.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna have to ask him to recruit us some new junior.
Maybe I'll find one.
Well, and you were reappointed, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were reappointed as a junior commissioner. So,
I'm sure we could arrange a promotion if he's eligible.
That would require a vacancy on the
Yeah.
ECC.
Oh.
yeah, or we could ask the village to increase the size of the commission.
Yes.
That would be great.
But the problem with that is that the threshold for a quorum becomes higher, and I don't want to go through situations like other commissions can't achieve a quorum all the time. I mean, we've been fortunate. We've gone a long period without having a situation where we didn't have a quorum. So if there's no further discussion, if it's okay with the commissioners, I'll just put this off until June. Is that okay? Commissioner Leishman.
I'm pretty sure, but this is not actually the end of your 2-year term, right?
No.
So this is not a violation of term limits or anything to postpone this.
No, and I'll tell you that other commissions, they kind of roll along and they don't necessarily follow the chairperson continues on past the 2 years, and I'm on a particular commission where they hadn't had a vote to select the chairperson. They did turn around and select the chairperson that was currently in place, but they maybe had forgotten about the ordinance that says they're supposed to do it every 2 years.
I understand that some commissions might not hold themselves to that standard, but I think
Right.
historically we have done a pretty good job
Right.
of following the law.
So I took over for Justin Schlensky 2 years ago. Justin resigned from the commission, and there was a vote, and I was chosen chair. And I'm trying to think who the prior one. The prior chairperson was Jess Spivak. and I can picture her, but I can't remember her name. I mean, I've been involved with this commission a long time, so I've known a number of chairperson, people who have chaired the commission, so. Okay, is there any further discussion? So we'll just set this aside until June, when, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Draconis will be on hand, and then maybe some folks will have a clearer idea of if they want to be a chairperson or a vice chair. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on to item 5C, recap of Arbor Day celebration and Green Champion Award. And I will just say that the commission got some nice press for the Arbor Day celebration. I mean, the Arbor Day celebration, it was a village celebration, but the fact that the Environmental Concerns Commission was involved was publicized in the Villa Park Review. And then I wanted to thank Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Draconis for the nice job that they did with the presentation of the Green Champion Award. And there again, we got some nice local press for that. And I want to thank everyone. I know Commissioner Smith was there, Commissioner Greco was there, I believe you were there.
No, I didn't go to the tree.
Oh, no, the Green Champion.
Yeah, sorry, I drifted. Yes, I was at that.
So I thought it went well. We got some good publicity, and yeah. Any other comments about Arbor Day Green Champion?
Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Okay, I'm going to move on to item 5D, report on spring sweep. And I want to thank everyone. Commissioner Leishman, you stepped up, you got the hold harmless agreement signed, the waivers signed. Commissioner Smith was at the front of the line with Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Amore had a handcrafted stop sign. Commissioner Greco was there, I was there, and many thanks to Rich Salerno and the Public Works employees. They did a great job. Unfortunately, I had sent a email to the chair of the Focus on Unifying, the Community Focus on Unifying Neighbors Commission, because their chair had sent me a list of 4 people that were supposed to come and volunteer on Saturday. And I said, can you give them my phone number and can you share their contact information with me? I'm not talking out of school here, I'm just stating a fact. She never responded, and none of those individuals showed up. So, and we did invite them to planning meetings, and they did not attend. So it's my intention to go to one of their meetings and to ask, are you really interested in being partners with us in this event? Because if you can't send us any volunteers, and I'm not bashing anybody, this is, they're all great, they're great people on that commission, they do a lot of great things, but I don't know how we can call them partners if they didn't participate in the planning and they didn't send us any volunteers. So that's all I'll say about it. I'm slowly getting totals for the event. I reported to Manager Harline that, and I said this was an estimate, guesstimate, I said about around 368 cars. We collected 30 flags for the VFW. We collected 16 bikes for working bikes. And then Lions Club reported they did quite well. They have a long list of things that they collected. 12.5 pounds of eyeglasses, 8.5 pounds of ink cartridges, 13 pounds of cell phones, etc.
The car count seems low to me. Like,
What's that?
The car count seems low, like we've had more cars in the past.
It was a guesstimate.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't, Commissioner Mora had a counter, and you did a count halfway.
Right, I got.
Yeah, and you had, it was like 180 some cars?
For the first
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
quarter hour of, I think.
Then I
we-
start, when you gave it to me, it was like on 75 or
Yeah.
so, and then I start clicking for a little bit.
I was bouncing around from one station to another, so I know I missed some, so we did, as I talked to you about that, that's why we did guess based on the number we had recorded by one quarter of the way through, and then we just multiplied.
Oh, I got you,
Right.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Commissioner Smith?
So, based on my interactions, there were a fair amount of residents, and they all were prepared to show their IDs, to prove they were residents. Do we have a count on the amount of funds that were collected from
Yes,
non-residents?
I will get to that.
Oh, okay.
So I did get a report from Scarce. They collected 34 boxes of books, 1,292 pounds, 2 boxes of LPs, 42 pounds, 12 boxes of school supplies, 324 pounds, and 1 bulletin board. And you may know that they have, Scarce has a resale shop, so a lot of this stuff either gets sold, resold, or they give, if there are textbooks, they give them to teachers. Let's see here. I did hear from LRS, and there was 2.43 tons of paper that was shredded.
Wow.
And they sent a certificate of destruction, which I sent over to Deputy Public Works Director Rich Salerno. Let's see here. Simple recycling, or their representative Village Discount, they collected 1,900 pounds of clothing and housewares. And let's see here. So there were apparently 6 non-residents that went through.
Only 6?
That's what's based upon what we collected.
Okay.
There were 2 Gaylord boxes full of fluorescent bulbs, 5 buckets of household batteries, 16 fire extinguishers, 9 automotive, and 6, these may be marine batteries, 1 lawn tractor battery, and Rich said that he hadn't got anything back on the e-waste portion. They usually break it down by the way the printers, etc. So we'll know more, and I'll put together a more thorough report. But I think it went well. We had 2 new community service officers, and they seemed to know pretty well how to handle it. At the end of the event, the one community service officer went behind the line, and so we were able to cut off, the flow of traffic. There's always people changing lanes, et cetera, but I think it went along smoothly. And there's some things that we said we were gonna do, but we didn't do, like having on the back of the sheet where the things that we don't collect, where you can take them. That's a good idea for next year. And it was mentioned at Monday's village board meeting, and trustee Alfano thanked the commission for the work. And then Manager Harline thanked Public Works, Rich Salerno, and Riley Pilar. So, and we probably owe you for donuts and coffee.
I didn't get coffee.
Huh?
Somebody else must have got that. I only brought the donuts.
What's that?
Somebody else brought the coffee, it wasn't me.
Okay,
And I was happy to bring the donuts.
okay. Okay, any comments about Commissioner Mori?
Well, basically, I believe we do a debriefing with Public Works, and if so, we'll be taking comments at this meeting to pass forward to a meeting that you're gonna have with them, things that works, and things that didn't work.
Right, I think that's what we're doing, and
Right.
we're talking, we're kind of, this is our debriefing, or, so,
Specifically, my one thing is I was under the impression that we were gonna get bigger signs at the locations where the vendors were stationed, and they seem to be the same signs we've used in the past.
we mentioned that at the initial meeting we had, and whenever it was in February, and we kind of, that idea was shot down. I mean, it was not, so the question is, how big of a sign do you want? I mean, the signs that if they're out in the, close to their station, I thought they were visible, but, I mean, how big of a sign do you want?
Well, it has more to do with the people who are dropping off, being able to
Right.
direct them. Like, for example, I would say to somebody, if they were asking for, because I was trying to help at the beginning of the line at certain times to direct people. So if somebody had paint, I would say, well, go to that truck on the left that has the back door open, the big truck on the left, versus if they had stuff for scarce, I'd say, well, go to that big truck that's on the right with the back door open. But if they had anything else in between, then I would have to use those as identifications. Like, for example, electronics, I tell them to go past the truck on the left, and you'll
Yeah.
first get to where bulbs are, and then you'll see the bulbs, and then past that is the electronics.
So a suggestion, I'm sorry, Commissioner Smith.
Okay. I just wanted to say that I 100% agree with what Commissioner Morey is saying, because the larger signage and a little bit more clarity, we have the maps, which are great, but also having the signage to complement the maps, so then it's clear, and then for those of us that are doing directing, it's also, we're knowing where the people, and then since I'm talking, I might as well add my other comment. I drove through myself because I donated had a couple of TVs to drop off. And I know better because I had been directing the traffic. And then I found myself, I was thinking that I can just automatically go in that other lane, because it was kind of counterintuitive, because it looks like you can choose which lane you want to drive in. So I think maybe rethinking the layout, or where we have people, but then without causing a backup onto the street, so maybe that can have a little bit more thought as far as the flow and the signage.
And one more thing, we did have a person who had a business on that street,
yeah.
who was
Right.
driving in the opposite direction, going westbound, And he said, he said, I have to get to my business. And I said, well, I'm sorry, this has been on the calendar for a while and everyone should have been notified. Call the manager's office on Monday. There's nothing like.
Right, yeah.
So this Commissioner Wagner, there were letters delivered to all the businesses, and I think it was more than, there might have been 2 letters. There was also a truck parked illegally in the street, which created an impediment. But back to the idea, back to the better to let people know what different stations are. Maybe not bigger signs, but maybe large numbers.
Or letters. Like
Letters,
station
yeah,
one,
letters
go
or
to
numbers, and
Letters
then
or
having
numbers.
them, utilizing the maps and saying, okay, go to A or go to B, or
Right.
That's a
1
good
or 2 or
idea.
3.
Yeah, that might be something to think about.
Yeah,
Commissioner Greco.
sorry, yeah. Really simple, because the signs we had were just 8.5 by 11 that somebody printed off of paper. And the description of what was at that site was like an inch tall. You could make much bigger letters off of a home printer than we had on those signs. So yes, all those other things are important and would be even better, but the very minimum, there shouldn't be any pushback to just printing the letters as big as possible on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper.
Half the page was taken up by the village's letterhead.
Right. Yeah, it's the entire page should have been what was at that station.
Okay, I thought that the signs that were on the barricades or horses were bigger than that?
No.
I think they were bigger than a standard printer piece of paper,
They
but
were 11 by 17s. That's
Yeah.
the biggest laminator we have. So
Yeah.
that's the largest thing we can make, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, the letters were like 2 inches tall when they could have taken much more of the paper.
That's awareness, Paul.
I think having letters or numbers for each station, and then having it on the map, be circled, this is
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, rather than say, go to scarce, you can say, just go to station
one.
B or station
Right.
4 or whatever.
Yeah, I would still like to see the individual items listed at each stop if possible. I think
Yeah,
that
but
helps people.
if you look at what Scarce collects,
Yeah.
that'd be, it
You
go,
need a booklet.
Yeah, yeah.
go to the ground. I mean, Commissioner Smith.
So several of the people that I interacted with had the maps with them, either on their phone or they had a paper copy with the layout. So if we had the letters or numbers on the signage that corresponded to the map, then that would work.
So back to the comments, I'm sorry, did you read done?
No, I'm done.
Okay. And Public Works was great. They were a lot of them there, they busted it, they were there setting up the barricades, when the barricades started blowing across Ardmore into the Jewel parking lot, they came back out with weights and putting the weights on, so they were great.
They brought me a broom when I dropped a paper box full of household batteries on the street.
And there was one fella that came up with a plastic garbage bag with multiple items in it.
Oh, I saw that.
Said in the
He was on the-
electronics line.
He was on the
sorting.
ground sorting through it. It was just
I'm like, thanks for bringing it in, but, could you have maybe gotten a couple extra jewel bags and sorted it before you came here, But, at least he did the right thing. It didn't end up in the landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah. My suggestion, maybe at the front of the line, we should tell people, stay in your car, because people get out of their car and then it holds up the line, So. Commissioner Leishman.
can I ask a silly question?
No.
Nah, yeah, we want a real one.
Go ahead, we have a real question.
So this has been around since before my time on this commission. What is the reason for laying out the stops the way that they are? Like, why? I know electronics recycling is where it always is. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But why is earth paint way on the other end, and why is the Lions Club and the other third parties on the other side? Is there a reason we need to have 2 lanes so that people are switching back and forth? could we use the second lane for like people that are done and just ready to exit?
So,
Those were my thoughts on.
yeah, this is Commissioner
Saturday.
Wagner. You know, dividing Home Avenue in half was actually very beneficial because it was, before that, the traffic flow was chaotic.
Okay.
Having 2 lanes is good, definitely. We did have, at one point, we had a turnoff where people could turn off early, but we didn't do this, we thought that having earth paint or e-paint at the beginning of the line would expedite things because people have to unload, there's a transaction that takes place. So we thought that would be good for them to be there. But the other participating groups, there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, we could certainly change that if we came up with reasoning where they should be somewhere different, you know? Commissioner Moore.
This is Commissioner Morgan. And one other, the paper shredding, that's the best place for that
Yeah.
location.
Right, that's the
Because
best place
there's
for it.
unloading and people want to know that their stuff is being shredded.
Plus-
Apparently, paperless society has not worked its way down to the consumer because they seem to, there were very few people who didn't have some paper to drop off. You know, because it's getting pricey to take that to like Office Depot, places like that now. So electronics was, and
Was the
then
most
paper was, I thought were the 2 busiest stations.
For sure.
Because I directed a lot of people around electronics just so they could get to the paper.
Commissioner Smith.
So is there, and I'm just asking because I'm not sure, is there another place where this can be held in the village where you maybe have a little bit more, where you can do more of a single line approach so the flow can be a little better? Do we have another, like a high school parking lot or like a bigger spot?
Well, this is Commissioner Wagner. We discussed initially, in the very first year, we suggested maybe the Metra parking lot. But the issue is the electronic. The electronic collection is such a big part of it, and the Public Works garage is right there, and all those, there's a forklift available, and to
Okay.
move it to a different location would make, you'd have to move everything back here.
Okay.
So Home Avenue is kind of the natural place to, yeah. We talked, the very first year, we talked about different locations, and Home Avenue really was the best, the best location.
And following up on what Sharon Wagner said, there literally was a TV so big that they had to put it on the forklift. I thought it was a bathtub.
That was the one
It
that was
was the
being
rear
pushed down the street.
projection. Yeah, it was,
Weird. It was like,
and they just put it on the forklift and brought it right into the garage.
wow, it was massive. Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Leishman.
The other point that I wanted to ask about, you mentioned the CSO officers directing traffic.
Right.
Were they present at the beginning of the event? Because
They were.
we started receiving people before
Yeah,
9 a.m.
yeah, that was kind of they were both they were both near Ardmore, and one of them should have been at the other end. And I don't know why we didn't enlist their help, but this year we didn't ask CERT for their help. And in years past, we've gotten a couple people from CERT to help direct traffic. So was kind of a oversight on on my part. Commissioner Smith.
So to another item that I think might be helpful to those of us directing traffic is like a flag or something, because we have the helpful stop sign that you created, but like a flag, stop, go, or whatever.
Well,
Because I literally, from a health and safety standpoint, you really had to make sure you weren't going to get hit from someone who was coming down
Right.
that other lane, or even watching your toes if people were to drive off too soon before you could even step back from the car.
Wow.
So I think that might be just a helpful
Right.
tool to help with traffic flow.
And, I mean, CERT would be the group that would be better trained at doing that, because I know at least the Milton Township CERT, they keep a supply of wands.
Once, I was gonna say that.
Oh,
And they
wands,
can,
okay.
you know, they light up at night, but they're about this far out, and they're red tinted. so
Similar
they-
to lightsabers?
Something like that, yeah. And the fact is that those, as I'm a CERT volunteer, so is Commissioner Wagner. And so they do a lot of events where we do traffic control. So we know how that's done, just through experience.
Yeah. So maybe, this is Commissioner Smith, we could have them maybe help do the traffic control, and then the rest of us just could be on unloading
Directing, yeah.
and directing, yeah.
So I appreciate all the discussions, and all the suggestions. Maybe we can compile these and, we actually didn't have a debriefing last year. I remember asking about it, but we just never scheduled one. But I think it'd be good to do, maybe in July. Riley is going on maternity leave, so she does have there is an intern that's gonna take her place, but, yeah. Yeah, and as soon as I have all the totals, I haven't heard from Earth Paint, and I'm trying to think who else I haven't heard from. But as soon as I have all those, I'll put it into the form of a document and share it with the commission. Okay, I'm gonna move on to item 5E, lead service line update. And I did talk to Public Works Director Guerra, and he said that they're working on a web page for the lead service lines. They're tweaking it, and eventually they will release it, or make it go live. And my comment to him was that there are upcoming opportunities for us to have tabling events where we could be a partner and help publicize whatever changes there are that the village is making with regards to lead service lines. And he indicated that he would get back to me with that information. So, Vasily, do you have anything to offer on that?
Yeah, it's already on the website on the back, and I guess, public cannot see it, but the goal is to have it live next week before O'Reilly goes on maternity leave.
And I have not been able to watch all the village board meetings, but I know that there has been some discussion, and I don't know what part of the village policy has changed with regards to lead service lines. There was a discussion where Director Guerra gave the board like 3 different scenarios, or 3 different, in terms of the possible funding or assistance to village residents.
Well, the policy was adopted though,
It was adopted.
so it's $5,000 or 50%, whichever is
Okay.
less.
Yeah, so we
Is
I'd-
that on the website?
Not yet.
I would, I'd love to have a one-pager or something that would tell us,
We didn't know.
Yeah, we can come up with
Once
something.
again, if you're not physically present or watch the board meeting, you don't know what policy changes have been made. My bad, but we kind of depend on staff to let us know.
Yes, sorry, but yes, the assistant village provides or will provide is up to $5,000 or 50%, whichever is less. Am I saying correctly?
I think
Right.
the way to phrase it I think what you mean is, we'll reimburse 50% up to $5,000.
Correct, yeah. So
Yeah.
if the quote comes in at $8,000, the assistance will be at 50%. If the quote comes in at $11,000, it's gonna be $5,000.
Okay. Commissioner Morey.
So I had a question for you, Vasily. My house was one of the ones where they came and did a water collection sample.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if, when we would get the results of the test, so that we could make a decision on what we want to do next.
Are you talking about the sampling
They
for
sent them-
EPA? The
Yeah,
bottles?
they sent the bottles, and I did fill them and take them, and then wait, fill them
And
following morning.
you wanna know the results of your specific?
Well, yeah, I'd like to know, the results, and if they're not, if you don't
If
have the
they're ready,
results, you
yeah.
can't give them back, I mean, obviously, but it was done over a month ago, so.
I'm gonna have to follow up with the utilities foreman. So they kinda run that for EPA's. Yeah, I will find out.
They did say it would take a little while.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, within 30 days of when they knew the answer. Yeah, I was one of those sample too. We
Right,
just
I
both
just-
happened to be randomly tested, but,
Yeah, there's
Really?
60 locations,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I had to give 5 specimens.
Commissioner Smith, sorry.
So is the village still planning to put out an request for a proposal or quotes for assistance from?
Yes, he's still working on it. I asked him specifically today, and he just was kind of sidelined by other stuff. But he's finishing it up, and the goal is to get it out probably early June or sometime in June. That's his hope.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Leishman.
Is that a request for like federal funds or?
No, it's for a consultant to help
Okay.
us with
Okay.
lead service.
Thank you.
There is no more federal funding for anything.
We have to operate under that assumption for a while, for sure.
Right. Well, I actually proposed, I offered a meeting that we were talking about, where Mike Guerra offered the 3 proposals, and I asked the EPA, the federal EPA guidelines may be changing or not enforced, because these were from the previous administration. And the response I got was that we're guided by the state EPA that follows the federal recommendations. So I'm going to assume that, you know, we're still operating under the guidelines that were they're not necessarily being enforced now, but if those guidelines were originally determined to what safe amount of lead they have, that's the guidelines I prefer to go with.
Well, yeah.
This is Commissioner Smith, and the way that works is whichever is the most conservative is what you go by. So if it's, in some cases, you might have where the federal guidelines are more conservative than the state, or the state is more conservative than federal, so then it defaults to the more conservative, and in this case,
Right.
in Illinois. So, which is a good thing, given
Right.
the current climate, yeah. And because of, one thing I don't think that'll maybe be bothered, that'll still remain because of the public outcry with lead in the water. That's, affects us all, right, regardless of party lines.
But on the other hand, you know, there's a lot of outcry about a lot of things.
Oh, I
Some of
agree.
that outcry is driving the elimination
Yeah.
of fluoride in water systems. Utah just passed it, now Florida's considering it, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's getting off the topic.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
well said.
I agree with you that we take the most restrictive, and
Yeah.
whatever information is provided me, I'm gonna operate accordingly.
We'll talk about that later with the fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
This is Commissioner Wagner. My wife was a dental hygienist for 40 years, and she will attest to how beneficial fluoride treatments are for preventing tooth decay.
Yeah.
Right in here.
She actually, and fluorite, which fluoride is actually the state mineral in Illinois.
Wow.
So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm not trying to express frustration, but I guess I am a little frustrated. There's not a lot of information coming to us, I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed obviously a couple of meetings.
Yeah.
But yes, the program is adopted and, yeah, we'll come up with a one-page document for a table in minutes.
Okay.
Promote.
Okay, I'm going to move on to item 5F, 2025 goal setting, engagement, education, and advocacy groups. Does anyone want to report? Commissioner Smith?
So, our group, education?
Yes.
Education, yes. So, this is Commissioner Smith, myself, and Commissioner Greco, and Molly. I was gonna call you Miss Molly, right? And Miss Molly. Molly is helping just as an interested resident.
An enthusiastic.
Yeah. So I reached out to Open Lands to see if they had any resources available for the program that we're planning on sustainable gardening. And I did get a response today, very, very favorable one. There is a person on their staff that's a landscape ecologist, and she's gone to over, I'm just gonna bring up the email really quick. So we have a landscape ecologist who has visited over 1,000 homes in 13 years, giving one-on-one advice to landowners about how to incorporate native plants on their property in an easy and aesthetic way. She primarily works in Lake County, but her knowledge and experience are regionally applicable, and she's a wonderful speaker with a great data-driven presentation. As an avid gardener herself, she has personally implemented the practices she shares too. She is available to speak for free. As far as the formal services and technical assistance she provides, Open Land does charge a $50 fee for a 1-hour appointment. She also knows all similar programs in the region and can make recommendations on the right contact depending on where a person is located. So this particular landscape ecologist, we do want to meet with her and see what dates she might be available and how that aligns, with the dates we have. And also she probably could recommend like a co-presenter as well. So that's what I have to contribute. What we have left to do as a committee subcommittee is to pick a date. And we have a couple of ideas for locations. I don't know, Mary Ann and Molly, if you want to add to that.
I'm still pursuing, trying to get Pace to come out and do their bike rack presentation at Oktoberfest, Brewfest, sorry. I was supposed to get an email back from Parks and Rec, but I understand they're really busy, so I'll give them a little nudge. There's some time.
This is Commissioner Wagner. You may know that the library is having a sustainable cleaning program. They're calling it green cleaning. I don't know when that's at, but it's on the library's website. And just a reaction, there is a program called Conservation at Home that the Conservation Foundation does sponsor. And there are some folks in town that have placards on their front yards, or where someone from the conservation comes out, takes a look at their efforts, and then says, well, we're going to give you the Conservation at Home designation. And I think that was taken over by someone locally, a Lombard resident, I believe. So that's an alternative too. Commissioner Moore?
Okay,
We done?
yes.
So, Commissioner Maury, so I came across a candidate for office that is, as part of her campaign, she's giving away little packets of milkweed seeds, okay? And I thought maybe, I'm not sure exactly when the right time to plant those are, but maybe we could do something like that for next year's spring sweep. Or, appropriate time, hand them out. Because most of the time, the planting instructions are just go to a bare space and let them fly. Whatever it takes, we'll take, and it's going to be beneficial to the monarchs who are getting even more seriously in decline than previous years. So maybe that's something we could tie the two events together, where we could, I'm not sure how late in the year you could plant those, where they'd be beneficial, but that's the primary nutrient for monarchs.
That's certainly a good idea.
This is Commissioner Smith. We had, the Education Subcommittee had previously talked about the rec center,
As
and
a-
we thought that maybe they had some plans.
Who's that?
The recreation center in Villa Park. It was my understanding that they might have some plans for the property in the back of their facility to do some type of sustainable gardening. So is that Parks and Recreation, I guess, who we need to reach out to see
The
if
Parks and Recreation, yeah.
that's a plan? Because that would be something interesting as a demonstration,
Sorry, the northeast corner of their property, like behind the, what is it? Like a dollar store or whatever. There will be a detention pond with a native plant bottom, but, yeah, they didn't construct it yet, but it's gonna be a stormwater facility.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if they will have any land for that. Well, I mean, yeah, you need to follow up with them.
And then even with the stormwater detention center, they'll have like the native,
They
like
will have
plants,
native.
kind of like a fake
Mhm.
faux wetland type of
So
recreation.
facility, will it be like a rain garden? Is that what, no, just a
Well-
detention area with native plants in it
At the bottom, yes.
at the
Yeah.
bottom. Okay.
Kind of similar to like what at Ovaltine, where the ours, we have like all the
The Ovaltine is,
cattails and all around it
right,
in our
but the
pond.
Ovaltine is actually holds water, it's like a.
Yeah, it's like a
wall.
pond.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but that detention area on Riverside, on the east side of Riverside, there's a detention area.
Okay.
on Riverside or Monterey?
No, it's on Riverside. It's on Riverside, just south of
Highland?
Kenilworth. Maybe it is Highland. It's on, yeah. It's about the size of a regular lot.
Yeah, I believe you're referring to 419 South Monterey. We bought a house there and.
Okay, maybe it is Monterey then, yeah. I thought it was
It holds
Riverside.
water and neighbors complain about it, so we're getting quotes to fill it in and have it drained, so,
I saw the flags in,
yeah, I laid it out.
What is
Okay.
their problem with it? Mosquitoes or?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that'd be the only reason not to worry about water, or the only reason to worry about it in my mind would be because of mosquitoes. But
so you're gonna fill it in?
Just a little bit, just so it has a 2% slope towards the pipe, so it wouldn't hold water.
Okay. Okay, anything further from your group? Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
no, thank you.
Um, Okay, I don't think we have anything to add in terms of engagement. It's been kind of a busy month, and really we haven't made any further progress on, what we described at our last meeting. Okay, and then advocacy, anything you wanted to?
Not really.
Okay,
We've also been busy and/or out of town, as you can see.
okay. All right, I'm going to move on to item 5G, discussion and action, recommendation on community solar and on electrical aggregation. So we had Adam Hoover here last month, and he gave us a little presentation. And I did follow up, I did speak to Manager Harline, and he's looking for some recommendation from us. Just to kind of recap some things that Adam Hoover said, the current program, electrical aggregation program, expires in October of 2025. They're looking for a decision from the village board by July 10th. And the reason he was directed to us is so that we could make some sort of recommendation. The current program is, I think I'm saying this correctly, is administered by a group called MC Squared. And so what we have is currently under the fixed rate program, 100% renewable. And what Adam told me was that if we went and if the village decided they want to go with it in terms of electrical aggregation with the 100% renewable, that all the folks who have opted out would still be opted out. So there probably would not be a lot of,
Attrition.
concern or pushback from people who didn't want to be part of the program. Because these are the folks that are on the program now would stay in the program, and the people who have opted out would still be opted out.
Now, this is for renewing, because I think it's up in October. Is that what we're discussing, like renewing MC squared, or?
Right, yeah, renewing the MC squared program. And then there was the fixed rate program, and then there's the price match program.
Oh, because we're on the fixed rate now.
We're on the fixed rate now, yeah. And I asked him, what do you think is the most advantageous? And his response was, because of the way the energy fluctuates and there's some seasonal changes, if we probably sticking with the 100% renewables is the best way to go. And, if people didn't want to, they could, the MC squared would send out they sent something out, a postcard or whatever, to residents describing the program, that they had a chance to opt out. The price match program, there is a civic grant, which is about $1,500 per month or $18,000 annually.
Yeah, that is the third option, though. That is the 0% renewable.
No, it has a 5%. I'm looking at his presentation.
I thought that there was a 5% renewable price match, and then there was a
You-
0%.
You're right, you are right, you are correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
a
you're right.
0% renewable price match that comes with the community grant.
Right, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Now, when you say 100% renewable, you mean through the credits, not that we're
Yeah,
actually
it's
using wind.
It's renewable energy credits.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's,
Or RECs.
yeah. Yeah, and that's where I just, apparently we're in an oversaturated market for the RECs, so there's no guarantee that those RECs are actually generating more renewable energy.
So what I understand is there are no renewable energy credits available in Illinois, so they try and get them from somewhere in the Midwest, or, yeah.
Right.
Commissioner,
Smith.
I recall him saying it was coming from like another state out,
North Dakota.
out west.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess like North Dakota or something like that.
Yeah.
So, just from my understanding, is he saying that these are just energy credits? I mean, do we still have a backup for like more traditional energy sources? I'm just thinking about Spain and Portugal, what happened because they were relying so much on renewables, and then it they didn't really have a good backup in place, and we all saw what happened.
Yeah.
That was a contributing factor. I mean, just was they couldn't withstand all of the demand on the system, and it just failed.
Well, here in Illinois, we're still using a whole lot of coal. And-
So that's my question. It's more of an aggregate. Like we have like a combination of some renewables, some like more traditional
Right, yeah.
sources. Yeah. So when they're saying 100% renewable, they don't mean that we're using.
No,
100%
they just means we're
renewable.
purchasing the, I forgot what the R stands for, but the energy credits, renewable energy credits. Yeah, it just means we're purchasing enough to compensate for the non-renewable that we're using.
Okay. Almost kind of like a wet link bank.
I know,
Yeah.
it's very convoluted, and I have not,
Thanks for explaining that so I can understand it better.
oh, it took me a long time to wrap my head around it, and I still don't completely get it. But it has not been proven to me that it actually helps create more renewable energy, so I'm a little bit dubious about the
Yeah.
energy credits. And this fixed rate cost me about anywhere from $5 to $7 a month. I kept track every month, and it ended up costing me about $5 to $7 a month to be with MC Squared. So between those two things, I actually opted out after about a year.
Yeah, I think you made a good point. Purchasing renewable energy credits actually encourage renewable energy resources,
Right, that is the intent, that absolutely
Right.
is the intent, and it seems like it should work,
Another state.
but it hasn't necessarily been shown that it does.
So is there I guess in its presentation, like really like hard data that's from another source besides, that actually shows, like, or has someone done like a pros and cons list to evaluate it?
Not with
Both
hard
options.
numbers that I could find. I found a couple of, just general conversations about it, and somehow this whole thing didn't print, but, and it's someplace called Impactful Ninja, so, take it with a grain of salt.
Impact what?
Ninja.
Okay.
Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt, but I didn't find any hard numbers when I looked.
So if we went with under the price match program, the civic grant program, that would be just conventional energy sources, but we would get from MC squared 18K, and one thing I know Director Guerra's looked at is maybe constructing some charging stations in town, at Metra or wherever.
For e-vehicles?
What's that?
For e-vehicles?
For electric vehicles, right, yeah.
Electric.
And remember, some of those vehicles are gas-electric hybrids also. Yeah, you have,
No, I'm talking about pure EVs,
Right.
pure electric vehicles, right, no, I know.
right, but there is a designation for the plug-in.
There are also
hybrids.
plug-in hybrids too,
They
right?
get a limited range on electric, 24 miles or whatever the case. We had two of them, three
Right,
different miles, and those would be more beneficial, especially if you can get a free charge, because if you've got a limited range, you really don't want to go to your gas engine. So people have that because they suffer from range anxiety. If they have a 500-mile trip, they don't want to worry about stopping and charging. So,
so, yeah, so you may know that within Villa Park, at the Target, there are fast chargers for, I think they're primarily for Tesla vehicles. And then they're also at Walmart, there was another EV charging station. There may be others I don't know about. I know the library was considering it, but they never did it. So,
There is a gas station on the corner of St. Charles and Addison. They're in permit to actually install one.
really.
That's cool.
at St. Charles and Addison, they're getting a permit for an EV charging station?
Well, okay, ComEd doesn't have a three-phase anywhere near there, so ComEd applied to us to run an
Oh,
underground
I see, okay.
to that location, and the idea is for the owner of this gas station to construct, I believe, one or maybe two charging stations.
Commissioner Smith?
Commissioner, so what's the renewal period for this? I mean, how long? So is it
I
every?
believe it's 2 years. So it
Okay.
runs 2 years. Now, we don't have to make a recommendation. We can say, let the village board decide, because we made a recommendation and they opted to go with 100%.
I know what I would recommend.
Well, you can make a motion
Yeah.
anytime you want to. But just back to the electric charging station, the EV charging stations, there are companies like a ChargePoint who have charging stations where you can swipe your credit card, charge your vehicle, and I think there are programs where the village could get something back. You know, they would, but there are currently no electric vehicles in the fleet. There's at least one hybrid.
Which is not in use, it's pretty old and it's being probably auctioned off.
Okay. Commissioner Smith?
I think in 2 years from now, there's going to be more advances with renewable energy, and we'll kind of see what's happening, right, in the world. In my opinion, I kind of like the price match and the civic grant and using that money, to maybe invest in, some more charging stations or in the village or something of that nature.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
I can. So as Commissioner Smith, I move that we approve or recommend the price match and civic grant option to the village board.
Okay. Is there a second to Commissioner Smith's motion?
Commissioner Memorial, second.
Second, okay. All right, is there any discussion?
I
think
mean,
we've already been discussing it, but go ahead.
I mean, my concern with the civic grant program is, I don't know. How do we ensure that that money is spent actually making the village more green? You know, it's nice in principle, but I know there are concerns about, you know, renewable energy credits, but by doing the price match program with the community grant, you're essentially taking that entirely off the table. And so, you know, we as a village will not be investing anything in renewable energy at a price for $1,500 a month.
Commissioner Smith.
Commissioner Smith. I just think, like, just knowing what I know, I think at this point, there's still some kinks in that, in renewable energy that in 2 years would probably be worked out. And is it possible, and this is more of a question, could that whatever money we get, was it 15,000, 18,000, could that be earmarked so that it has to be used for?
We can recommend. but
Okay, we
can't-
recommend though that it be.
Yeah, we can recommend, but we can't,
Yeah.
yeah. Commissioner Moore.
Now, following up, so, this is Commissioner Maury, so you could put in the proposal that a portion of the grant, or the 18,000 or whatever much money it is, a portion of that could be used to make sustainable purchases in village infrastructure. For example, we still don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I still don't think we have any buildings that have solar collectors on the roofs.
Any solar panels?
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't have any plug-in vehicles, which, to me, in my experience, a municipality is equal to like people like your trash disposal, where you have a captive place to overnight to park them and recharge them for the following day. They come back, most of the vehicles sit overnight, and it could be charging for the next day's uses. So, I mean, as ECC, we have a responsibility to inspire the village to make more sustainable purchases, even if it comes down to little things like weed trimmers and, leaf blowers and things like that operate on rechargeable batteries.
Here, here. Nice point.
Yes.
Commissioner Leishman.
My argument would be that we should be advocating for those things regardless of this $18,000. That should not be all the village is spending, purchasing greener options around town.
But in response to that, traditionally, Villa Park has not had the financial benefits of having provider, a provider taxpayer base like Lombard would have with Yorktown, or Elmhurst would have with their downtown district, where you have a lot of people who want to gather there, and a hospital, and other, large, like they have a whole row of vehicles, dealerships up on Grand Avenue. Some are Bensonville, but some aren't. And the fact is that we've always kind of been the poor man's village, where we're always just a little bit shy of what we'd like to get, because of, and now we're losing the grocery tax. They're gonna have to figure out another way of keeping our grocery stores in town, because people will start shopping elsewhere if the village doesn't address that. So it's just a matter of considering every opportunity we have, even if we have to say, yes, we have advocated for those things in the past, and where do we stand now? We're in no better position now than we were 10 years ago.
Can I ask a question? I know I'm not really supposed to.
Oh, you can ask.
Yes, go ahead.
We're laid back.
I will recognize you.
I'm just questioning. I'm not understanding everything Why are they paying us 18,000 to not invest in renewable energy? And where is that money coming from?
Well, we're going through MC squared, and MC squared is essentially, they're, I'm gonna call them a middleman, I don't know.
Broker.
And they're kind of kicking back to the village a portion of what they are,
Oh, so to get us not to use renewable, they're making more money. So that's why they're giving us money.
Essentially, I would say that's correct, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, it's the money we're not spending on the RECs, we're getting as cash. It could be as simple as that, but, yeah, I see your concern.
MC squared is making money on this deal.
Yeah, so-
Well, they're going to no matter what, absolutely.
Money
So
on
they'll
the
make
project.
more money if we go non-renewable, and that's why they're
a valid
paying
point
us.
Also.
So they're bribing us to go
Yeah,
non-renewable.
I will tell you that when I asked Adam Hoover what direction he thought we should go, he said, you should either go, I thought, well, the 50%, maybe 50%. They said, you should go with either the 100% renewables, and because of seasonal changes and probably imminent rate increases, 100% renewable would be a good option, or the civic grant choice.
Is the 100% a good option because it's price locked?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
You set the price at the beginning of the 2-year contract.
yeah.
Where the other ones are just matching the
Yeah,
comments.
because of the
Market rate,
fluctuations
yeah.
and raises and comments rates, it'll be advantageous.
Okay, like I said, I tracked the whole year and
Yeah.
lost money.
Yeah.
You invested that money in renewable energy.
Yes, thank you.
So Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, I also know that renewables are also going through it a little bit now, though, because the lack of funding and some of the programs are being canceled, so I'm concerned sometimes about reliability issues. Not saying we shouldn't invest in it, I just think 2 years from now, it'll be interesting to evaluate where it is and then make a decision, but I'm fine either way.
Commissioner Leishman.
So this is a 2-year contract, so either way, we're going to be having this conversation again in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
They're just thinking
So I don't want to
more
keep the
progressive in 2 years.
discussion open-ended, but Commissioner Greco.
Well, it is an important one, so maybe we should discuss it for a while, but, okay, what was my point? Your point about things kind of in flux, especially like funding for renewable, that's actually kind of an argument for the 100% because it is at least trying to invest in renewable energy. And we're still gonna have our coal and our reliable energy here. So personally, your lights aren't gonna go off, you'll just be paying more for it and hopefully encouraging more renewable development and research.
Yeah.
Commissioner Moore.
Taking into consideration what everyone said, because of what Alan said about the 2 years we're having this conversation again, how do we acquire the accurate data from the current 2 years to have some kind of performance metric to determine how we've benefited or not benefited from having this agreement?
Well, that was part of his presentation. That was
Right.
part of his PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Commissioner Leishman.
yeah, it's in the minutes from last month.
I thought I
The
said,
money that we invested in renewable energy credits were put towards building a wind farm in North Dakota. Villa Park's contribution towards this was 3rd highest amongst all municipalities in the state, 17th highest in the country.
And it's in North Dakota.
It's in North Dakota.
So I would entertain a motion to call the question. Oh, sorry,
Okay,
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. No, you're right. I was just going to remind you that there is a motion on the table.
Right, right. So would someone like to make a motion, or we can just take a vote? We, you know. All right. Okay, all those in favor of going with the price match program, the civic grant program, if you will, please signify by saying aye.
I,
Okay. All right. Any opposed?
No.
I'm abstaining.
I vote no. So that the motion failed.
Is it a tie?
Well, there was 2 in favor. Oh, you voted. Oh,
I abstained.
Oh, you abstained, so you vote with the majority. That's my understanding. You vote-
Really?
Yeah.
It's a tie though.
Yeah, that doesn't seem, it doesn't seem right.
no, I don't think that's correct.
Are-
Can you vote or no?
No.
Because junior commissioners can't vote.
Chairman Wagner?
Yes.
Are you, point of order, are you a voting member if it is not a tie?
That's a good question. The chair typically doesn't vote. I mean, so we follow Robert's Rules of Order. I mean, I voted in the past, so this is not the village board. I'm a voting member, so.
Okay.
I'm just going to refresh my memory of how an abstention is.
Alan, can I see that?
Also,
When a participant in a vote does either does not have to vote.
It doesn't make sense that it would automatically go to either side.
right.
Because if I were abstaining for, say, conflict of interest reasons, it shouldn't.
A point of order,
Yeah,
Commissioner Wagner, since we have 2 members not present, can I propose to table the,
Not if
Well,
the
no.
motion just passed.
no, we just took a vote, so we have to, we can't
Right.
back
but
up.
there's still a discussion of whether the abstention counts as a vote for. So,
That's what we're trying to figure
I mean,
out.
as I say, despite the fact that you have called the votes, not all the votes are being qualified.
It's a meeting timeout right now. We're
Wait,
trying
well-
to figure out the rules.
Yeah, it's because, I mean, we can't table it until we know if it was a legal vote or not.
Right.
All right, well, I'm gonna use the ladies' room then while we're figuring this out. Is Cheryl still here? Maybe she'll know.
She's still here. She's always here. God bless her.
Oh, I think voting present goes with the majority.
Yeah, but there is no
There's,
majority.
yeah, it's just 2 and 2.
What's that?
There is no majority, right?
If you're voting, it's 2 to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, based upon the vote, that the motion failed.
Yeah, I think you have to have a majority to
Yeah.
pass a motion.
Right, yeah. So the motion failed. And if you want to litigate that,
No.
Talk to village attorney.
You.
So if the motion failed, then that means,
what's that?
what does that mean then? That we can't recommend anything?
Well, no, I mean, we could someone could make another motion for another option.
Another vote.
Or we can just say we
Table it to the next meeting, we could do that.
I don't think we're in time, but
They
we
need
could
to
do
decide.
that if you want to. So if you want to make a motion, you do table or set this aside, we can do that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
The table, the discussion of, discussion and decision on items 5G
5G.
to be moved to the June meeting
Okay,
for further discussion.
okay, is there a second? Commissioner Smith?
Commissioner Smith seconds.
Okay,
the motion.
all right.
Well, that's all we need to explain.
Do
the
we have
motion.
another vote?
We have a new
Well, we
motion.
decided that the motion failed.
It was a tie.
Okay.
It was a tie, so it was a tie.
By default.
Abstention, voting present would go with majority, and there is no majority.
But you voted absent.
Right.
Okay.
Or
Absent,
abstention.
Abstain.
Yeah.
Abstention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was basically 2-2. So the motion dies because there's no majority.
Right.
Okay, so I heard you voting again?
So
Not
there
yet.
was a motion
We
by
haven't-
Commissioner Amore to table or set
Oh.
aside this until June.
Okay,
And then Commissioner
Due to the fact that we're missing two commissioners.
Smith seconded
Correct.
the motion. So is there discussion on that motion to table or set aside? Commissioner Leishman?
Yeah, I have discussion about this. The village manager wants a recommendation on this for July.
So they would make a decision in July, yeah, so it would be, they need to make a decision. According to Adam Hoover, a decision needs to be made by, let's see here, July 17th, July 10th. So I don't know what the timing is on village board meetings.
We have a meeting on June 26th.
Pull up the calendar.
Bob, did your vote count?
What's that?
Did your vote count? Okay, so it was
Yeah,
2-2
yeah.
without me, okay.
My ruling is that my vote counts.
Stuff to count.
I think it should, especially at
Yeah,
this level.
this is not the village board. It's not,
You're not independently elected.
what's that?
You're not separately elected from the rest of
Right,
the...
exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to be somewhere at 9 o'clock. Is that okay if I?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Quick
thank
question
you.
before you go.
Yeah.
Do we have a plan for mosquito abatement for this year?
What's that?
Do we have a plan for mosquito abatement for this?
It's Clark.
It's already,
I'm sure it is. Yeah, in fact, I think we renewed for a multi-year.
I honestly do not know.
Okay.
But
I'll find out tomorrow.
I would bet you it's Clark. It's Clark mosquito abatement, yeah.
Sorry, thank
That's
you.
No worries, thank you.
So
Thank you.
June,
Good
the
night.
June meeting would be
The 9th.
prior to our meeting. The meetings are the 9th and the 23rd. And our next
So our
meeting
next,
is 26th.
our next meeting is June 26th. And so the village board typically, let's see, it looks like their meeting would be July 14th.
Oh, July, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at June. July,
So they will not have a meeting before, they will not have a July meeting before,
Yeah, so, yeah. If we
so
don't make-
there will not be a meeting between our meeting and the deadline.
Right, exactly, right.
Um,
That's what I'm looking at. They typically meet the second and fourth Monday. Will that change because of the holiday? I don't know.
they've already got the board meeting on July 14th. That's the next meeting.
That's the next meeting.
Yeah.
But July,
14th.
yeah.
The
No, you're
7th
not-
is,
You're not talking about June 14th. You're
no,
talking
July, I'm looking at July.
July, yeah. So, yeah, that makes sense. Would be July 14th.
Right, the previous meeting is senior concerns on the 7th.
So we could say that there was a impasse that we were,
Right, they
we
can't
didn't
ignore
have a
that.
clear recommendation. Commissioner Leishman.
While we're still discussing the motion to table,
Right, yeah.
My suggestion would be, do we want to discuss having a special meeting on this subject?
Yeah, we could do that. We can certainly have a special meeting.
To me, this feels like the sort of thing that we as a commission need to have an opinion about,
And they
and whether that
they
requires us
requested-
to do more homework
Right,
before that meeting, then that is fine,
and they
Um,
requested our input.
and they did. So that would be my amendment to this, this motion would be to table it until a special meeting that is prior to June 23rd, which is the last Board of Trustees meeting
Okay.
before that deadline.
Can I make a recommendation then? This is Commissioner Maury. We've moved meetings in the past. Can we move our June meeting to the 19th instead of the 26th?
I don't believe we
Yeah,
can move the regular meeting, but we
Yeah.
can call
We
a
call it- Yeah.
special
And-
meeting.
And the ordinance says, I think if two or more commissioners agree, we could have a special meeting.
I thought we
Or
could
we
move
could
a
even,
meeting.
pardon me?
I thought we could move a meeting if we gave 48 hours notice.
I think you can move the location, but I'm not sure about the date.
We've canceled meetings.
Yeah, we
with
canceled
48
meetings.
hours notice.
Because it's publicized as the fourth Thursday of the month.
Okay, well, that's fine. I
So-
mean, a special meeting,
Somebody
spend an hour.
Commissioner Leishman suggested an amendment to your motion. Are you agreeable to that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. And Commissioner Smith, you were the second. Are you agreeable to that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to rule that the motion has been amended and that we are going to set this aside until so that we can have a special meeting to specifically discuss electrical aggregation and community solar, which we have not talked about at all. And we're also getting quite late, so I think that's a great idea. So, all right, so let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor of setting this aside to be dealt with at a special meeting, to be determined, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And this is to discuss items 5G and 5H at the special meeting.
Right, 5G, and that would just.
Just G.
It would just be
G.
specifically that.
Just G.
5G.
And we could publicize it, invite members of the public to come and talk.
Mhm.
Since there was a lot of maybe consternation about the choice that the village board made, not what we recommended.
It's water under the bridge.
Yeah,
Just let me-
that's true.
Let me
Yeah,
just
that's
check
true.
one more thing before.
And understanding, the pros
Let's
and
make
cons
sure
of
that
wind
we-
energy.
there's not a
in North
conflict on the
Dakota.
19th where the room might not be available.
So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to check with Commissioner Hill and Commissioner Chaconas so we can make sure we have a quorum. So let's not set a date right now, if that's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay?
Are the three options described in that presentation? Are the three options described in the
Yeah,
presentation?
and I can resend this.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Anything else that you think might help us do our research?
yeah. And I can also, if you want to ask, we can also ask Adam Hoover to come back. We could have him join us by Zoom as well. And I should mention that his family expanded by one. Commissioner Smith.
I would like to maybe hear from someone who's a neutral third party to maybe provide some knowledge, someone that doesn't have, anything to gain either way. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We could ask Edith Macra from Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. She's pretty well versed on this. She could come and talk to us.
That would be great.
What about CUB, Citizens Utility Board?
We could ask someone from CUB to speak as well.
Just anyone that's not,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make
Yeah.
a dime on this deal.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so Commissioner Leachman.
My only concern with that suggestion is scheduling. because
Oh, yeah.
this is gonna be a pretty tight turnaround that we have to
Unless
do.
we just have them via Zoom, is that possible?
We can ask,
Yeah.
but we
We can certainly
shouldn't make
ask.
it the meeting contingent on having a guest.
Yes, or if they're open to virtual option, if that's allowed.
Right, but if you could at least, Mike, this is Commissioner Maury, if you at least offer an invitation to all three, or whoever you want to be here, at least the invitation was offered, whether they can put it on their calendar, they may not be able to do a Zoom, they might have a conflict.
Or just even call.
You know, we can,
right?
I mean, we can certainly send this out to folks and say, give us your opinion. You know, give us your advice, so.
Oh, true, where they can just email something
Yeah,
back.
I would encourage folks, if you want to run this by Cub, I'll send this out again to everybody. If you want
Okay.
to contact Cub, you know, I can certainly reach out to Edith and ask her, so.
Who is Edith with?
She's with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. She's actually been a guest here a few times. Okay, I'm gonna move on to 5H, discussion and action, possible participation in the 2025 Summer Festival, which is on Saturday, June 21st. I'd like to know if the commission would like to participate. If we would like to table at that event.
And that would be like Saturday from when they open till about 5, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, we typically go from like 11, whenever it is 11, they open it up from 11 till 5:30. And then we shut down. Because that's typically when the vendors, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Has there been value in the past to us?
Yeah, I think we've able to talk with a lot of residents. At various times we've had raffles, you know, we've given away, I can't remember, a rain barrel, compost bin,
We can-
Commissioner Maury.
And we could
That's
also
nice.
tap into our budget for the purchase of those items that we could raffle off. I'm not sure if ComEd still has the programs where they gave us things to give away, but those things certainly got used.
Right.
Even if they were just donated off to someone else, someone benefited from having weather stripping or light bulbs or something. which-
Yeah, that typically is at the beginning of the year, but we've gotten in the past, goes back, Cub gave us a whole pallet load of, when CFLs were the thing,
Mhm.
they gave us a whole pallet load of CFL bulbs.
Well, we don't have time to get anything approved in the budget to spend, because Summerfest is
Yeah,
before our next
I mean, we could put
meeting.
this on a, well, that's a short window. If we would have our special meeting on the 19th, this is on the 21st, so, yeah. We're not gonna get items from Cub or
How about the seeds?
ComEd within such a short window.
I mean,
We got donations.
yeah, it's time to get them.
It took there was a lot of communication when we got that big shipment of stuff from ComEd.
But, to argue the opposite side, it would be a good opportunity to start spreading the word about the lead pipes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We could, yeah, if we get that one pager, we could promote that program. We could talk about Recycle Coach, which the village is
Yeah.
accepting. Riley's supposed to promote it. So there's a lot of things we could do.
Composting,
Yeah, we could, yeah.
since our garbage does it and nobody knows.
Oh, that's right. Let them know about that too, yeah.
We could ask LRS if they have any giveaways, but
Or even just information about the
yeah,
composting.
I don't know
yeah.
what they gave us last time, those.
Didn't they give us
Thomas
those
things?
the squeezy, the
Yeah.
stress balls that had like a miniature garbage truck or something?
That's cool.
Seriously, yeah.
Commissioner Smith?
So have we ever done anything with the Goodwill? The reason I think about the circular economy, right? And the Goodwill is the Goodwill is all
The
about
what, the good?
Goodwill, all about, you know, donating and reuse. right?
Salvation
Which is-
Army, Goodwill.
Salvation
yes.
Army, their
Yeah.
reuse
Well-
and their,
What's the?
Simple recycling.
Oh, Simple
Are they
Recycling.
ones that take the bag off your porch?
oh, the Goodwills.
Yeah, this is a program in the village where we,
That's somewhere
Simple
else.
Recycling
No, no, there's
picks
not.
up at every Friday. Now it's every Friday, but it used to be whenever you called them. And they had orange bags, and they gave us a box of
Yeah.
orange bags, and we tried to talk to residents about the program. So
We still have that?
we still have it. They don't use the orange bag program anymore. You can print out a label when you make your
Donation.
pickup.
Yeah.
You can print out a label and you can put it on a box or whatever you're
Interesting.
using to. Yeah. Commissioner Leishman.
I motion that we participate in Summer Festival 2025.
Okay, there's a motion to participate in Summer Festival. Is there a second?
Commissioner Moore, second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Okay, I will make the arrangements to get us a booth space, and I will see what I can get from LRS and other sources. And also talk to Director Guerra to see what he can provide us so that we can talk intelligently about the lead service line policies in the village. Okay, I'm going to move on to item 6, public comments on non-agenda items. None?
No, it's, mine's an agenda item, so I would love to volunteer for your booth. Is that a thing that I can do?
Oh, yes.
Do you want me to see if Ace will donate something?
Yeah, yeah, it's
They may not,
nice to give
but
folks,
they might.
it's nice to have something to hand someone,
Right.
so it kind of facilitates a conversation.
Well, I was thinking if you get the handout stuff, if they would donate a rain barrel or a compost bin or something like that.
Go for it.
Because you talked
Yeah.
about a raffle or something that you had done before.
Yeah.
They may not, but I can try.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might check with the Trex place to see if they've got anything to donate.
Do you work for Ace?
Pardon me?
Do you work for Ace?
No. I'm just like, I'm just gonna walk in and be like, "Oh, here's what we're
Yeah,
doing."
hey, no harm in
Here's what
asking,
we're doing.
right?
He's a
Yeah,
regular customer.
no
Yeah,
harm in
yeah,
asking.
exactly.
you might want to say, the Ace and Lombard's going to give us this.
I know. I actually like the Ace and Lombard, so I'm
I like that one
guess I
better
can't
too,
go there,
yeah, yeah. I know we all wanna go, are you?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, can I try to get a composting something that we can hand out at the,
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
mean,
Someone was gonna
LRS
check with
should have-
LRS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Scarce has a bunch of material that they could offer us that we could copy.
But I think she was specifically talking about what LRS accepts
For our.
as composting
yeah.
in the yard waste bag. So very specific to Villa Park and very specific to curbside,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I could ask Jordan Graver or Katie Neary to say, give us some specific directions about composting using your yard waste.
That would be excellent.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, because if we could hand that out, I just think nobody knows about it. I don't know if people will do it even if they know about it, but I think they should know about it.
They should know about it, yes. I know we
Okay,
won't-
I'm going to move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Leishman,
No comments.
okay? Commissioner Smith,
No comments at this
Okay.
time.
Commissioner Figueroa,
No comments.
Commissioner Morey,
No comments.
Commissioner Greco,
No comments.
Yahtzee.
Commissioner Wagner, I have no comments, and I have no comments as chair. Our liaison has left the room. Excuse me, we don't have a liaison. The village staff has left the room. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, but let's just stick around for a few minutes. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Commissioner Leishman?
I so move.
Your second, Commissioner Morey, Commissioner Smith. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
So, let's just